So I went to her a few times. She came down a few times.
Wow.
And then within about 6 months of our visit, sometime I think it was July, August of 96. So then by April 97, like April is my last Sunday.
Your anniversary?
The 12th, yes, it's my 18th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
What kind of husband are you?
Goodness. I think she's the better position to answer that than myself. But I hope I'm a good husband.
Assess yourself.
I hope I'm
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Goodness, that's difficult. That's really, really difficult. I'd rather say this. I have a problem. I don't, because of the work that I do, I'm not as around the house as often as I would like. I'm traveling, I'm here inside the country, I'm outside Accra, out country, meeting people, talking to people. Even when I'm here in Accra, the meetings all day long, all night long. So that the companionship that she should get from me really is not.
Do you wish you could do a lot more?
Of course I can. Of course you will.
Does she complain?
No, fortunately for me, she doesn't. I think she understands that this is what she's got herself into. She doesn't complain. But I know, like anybody, I'm sure she would if I was more. But so that side of it is, I think I'm deficient. But in terms of reflection, being considerate, trying to.
You're a romantic lover? You are.
I think she's in a better position.
Tell us about the last gift that you gave her, or the trip that you actually sent her, you know, and she was like blown away.
The gift that I didn't give her a gift on our anniversary. That's a big mess. But
are you going to make it up to her?
I'm going to make it up to her and do something about that.
You're on national radio. What do you want to say to her then?
So thank you very much for her solidarity.
And your kids? Let's get to meet them.
How many? 5.
5 kids.
All girls.
You've been busy, Nana.
All girls.
You wish you had a boy? Sometimes?
Those things are in the hands of God.
Yeah, but you wish sometimes that you do. Yeah, they're beautiful, intelligent girls. But sometimes you wish, oh, maybe I had a guy too, you know.
Perhaps, yeah. But I've been quite happy.
That's right.
The girls have provided a lot of challenge for me. I've enjoyed the interaction. They are very lively.
Which one is taking after you? You look at her and you're like, wow, now that is me.
Which one? Perhaps the youngest. The
Nana Akufo. Okay.
But all of them in different ways.
So the first one is where and how?
In England. She lives there.
Okay. Married?
Married, unfortunately divorced. But she had a child out of it. Very nice young boy, Louis, my grandson.
Oh.
First of my grandchildren. The second is also there in England.
They don't love Ghana?
They've been here. The third was here until a few months ago. She didn't have a baby.
Okay.
So I have another grandson.
You've been busy then, as a grandfather.
And I have one also who's married and lives in Lagos. Married there, and has 3 children. And another grandson, my last one's about here. So I have all these girls. It makes it's interesting because these are you're having always to gauge.
What kind of father are you? I mean, when you had the guys coming up when they were growing up, was there a moment where you had to maybe, you know, scold them at a point, maybe because of the guys and all? Or you saw yourself with the guys and okay, let them be.
Oh, they were well behaved. They
okay.
understood what was necessary to be.
You didn't have any confrontation with any of the guys
no,
who came in there?
I wouldn't. Because I thought that they were intelligent enough to make sure that they chose the right kind of company.
Fantastic.
To go out. And I think it's as much as possible better to meet people to make their own life. So long as they do so within a certain context. Some basic values they understand, to be considerate, to be honest, kindness, and beyond that, more or less you need them to make their own judgment of what is good for them. That is what I'm doing.
Life at Legon, do you miss it? Which hall were you in?
I was in the Premier Hall, the Hall of Gentlemen.
Legon Hall.
Legon.
That's my hall as well. Which block?
What? We're at the beginning of the side of the one block.
There's the S block. There was I don't know. But you were in the annex.
The main, no,
the main hall.
This it was in our time that the annexes started being built.
Oh.
Yeah, but we were there at the beginning of the 60s, early 60s, and at that time, Legon Hall, as it was originally, was sufficient for our purpose. we paired up.
One in a room, two in a room?
Two in a room. By the time we got this, two in a room. And I don't know whether it's...
Your roommate?
Interesting question. Very interesting question.
Who was your roommate?
He's a man with the name Kujo Afarijan.
Really? How was life like? You and Afarijan in one room?
We were together for 3 years. So we got on very well. We still do. We got on very well. Together. I did economics and he was doing philosophy at the time. But we got on very well. Spent 3 good years together. Developed the same kind of friendship. He went into academia. He went after Legon to do postgraduate political science. We got his doctorate. And then I went off into professional life as a lawyer. I went back to England to leave for the bar. And then came back after working in France for 5 years. And then came back to become a lawyer. By that time he was at the university. Our lines didn't cross very much after that.
Really? You still call him up and you guys talk and
it's been difficult the last few years because of
why?
What he's doing and what I'm doing.
But for Canada, that's your roommate. Any fond memories being in room, same room with Afarijan?
He was good company.
How was he like?
Yeah, intelligent fellow, very, very laid back, easy. Not a historical kind of person to be around.
You guys used to jump together or go out and have fun together?
Not too much.
Not too much.
Yeah, our social life was a bit different.
What was your social life on campus? Like, you used to drive on campus, is that right?
Yeah.
You're a privileged child then. What car was that? You remember your first car on campus?
Yes, coming here. The little Volkswagen Express.
Wow. You must have been the coolest guy on campus with all the ladies.
No. Far from it.
Really?
Far from it. But I was interested in the female population.
Oh, you were?
I was.
Any favorites? Were you going to Volta Hall? Or?
I did. I spent quite a lot of time in Volta.
How was it like Volta Hall back then?
It was impressive. It was the only hall where they were all. And we used to spend a lot of time debating how the rest were penetrating the establishment. But it was fun.
You had some clues. I mean, you had some great friends now that you know that.
From Legon?
Yes. I mean,
very good friends. 1 or 2 of them were dead, unfortunately.
I have a surprise for you. Nana. I have a surprise. So can you put on your headphones and Good evening, President Kufuor. My name is Bola Ray and you're live on Star 103.5. You should see the look on Nana's face right here in the studios. Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, how's it? A big surprise. Are you here with us? Are you back home?
No, he's in France.
Ah, there you are. Because that's what I heard. Yeah, I knew you were going there as well. Oh my goodness, thank you so much.
Right. Mr.
You.
President, what can you tell us about the man Nana Akufo Addo as we celebrate him on Star FM, sir?
Well, of great pedigree. I met him first time, if I remember, about 1962. He was a youngster, bright, very sportive, athletic. When I met him, I think it must have been autumn and it was in Britain, at Oxford, in fact. This youngster was in a group of young international group. I think I was very much from Africa, Ghanaian. I was clad in coats and everything, but he was in jerseys and like the group he was in, he looked like if he was coming from some sports field. So I was thinking, he turned out to be the son of his father. From then on, interest grew in him very much. And much later, We met in our country, Ghana, and in politics. And I tell you, he's a beaver, a hard worker when it comes to political activities. And great organizer, always in the forefront, taking risks for the party. And that's how I've known him. And when eventually we got into power, as you remember, I invited him to serve as the Attorney General of Ghana.
Right.
So for always carrying a notebook and making notes as you spoke with him, you know. And then at Cabinet too, he applied himself, listening carefully before he would interject with questions and contributions. Then I moved him to the Foreign Ministry, where I believe he distinguished himself greatly. He was already very popular on the international scene, known in East Africa, West Africa, Europe, America, everywhere. So he's a very industrial guy, and now he's the Flagbearer of NPP.
That's right. As we celebrate him this evening, Mr. President, what's that one thing that you want to send across to Nana Akufo Addo? What's that one thing that you want to tell him this evening, sir?
Well, he knows I'm backing him to the hills into next year's presidential elections. And I'm urging him to move forward, rallying our party together and showing a commitment to serve the country. You know, when he gets there, when we pray he gets there, he should emerge as the president of the whole of Ghana. Even over and above our party. Ghana first, then the party. And I know he'll do it, so we should do everything to fulfill our expectations of him.
Star 103.5 FM.
Thank you very much, President Akufo, and many thanks for your time and for agreeing to talk to us, although you are far away. France and the connection wasn't that good, but thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you so much
for being with us. And, yes,
thank you very much indeed for those words, and I'm encouraged and inspired. And really, I'll do my very best not to disappoint you in the members of the party. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, President Akufo. And as we go along, lots of your messages as well, and a lot of you also calling in to share well, that's what you think. But let's think about it. Did you honestly think for a moment that you would lose the 2008 elections? Did it ever cross your mind?
Oh, it has to. When you go to an election, you can't assume that you're aware. That's the whole purpose of the election. And the third term agenda was never going to be easy. We've been in power two terms already. Even we had a good record in which to go to the country. But as I say, anywhere in the world, the third term agenda is never easy.
Many thought it was you thought it was a cool job, so maybe you relaxed. No,
I never. I think if you watch the way I campaigned in 2008, you'll see that I did not take it for granted at all. I went all over Ghana, making sure that the message that we had was heard. And at the end of the day, the result was so narrow. The difference between me and the local personality was minuscule. It wasn't even 1% of the vote. It tells you that it was a very, very close contest. And it could have gone either way. All along it had been my view. As I said, the third term agenda is not an easy agenda. But the party has been in power for 2 terms. Asking to push down the new leader for a third term is never easy. And therefore, the possibility that we might come up short was always there. That always was that at the end of the day, the record and the fresh message you had to bring to the people would take you through. And it was my work hard.
The issue of who succeeds Dr. Afro-Jan has recently come up. What was your view on this? Be candid with me.
As much as possible. I think, first of all, we have to recognize that whoever is the chairman of the electoral commission, their stature and credibility is very important to the way in which the institution is looked upon. That institution recently, unfortunately, has come under a lot of passion. There was, first of all, this Supreme Court case that we brought, where all kinds of things came up about how it was run. Secondly, soon after that, two cases also came to the Supreme Court. One about the National Health Insurance being used as a form of identification to get on the register. The Supreme Court banned it, even though the Electoral Commission has been using it for a very long time. And then thirdly, recently, the Supreme Court also cancelled the district election and assembly elections that the Electoral Commission had organized, leading to a loss of a lot of money, I believe $100 million at least. All of these things suggest that we should have somebody to head the institution who will restore public confidence in the Electoral Commission. And therefore, the calls that are being made, that as much as possible, the institutions involved in the appointment of the new chairman, the Council of State, and the President himself, should undertake a wide consultation to make sure that they come up with a name that is broadly acceptable to the different shades of opinion in our country. Somebody who's seen as an independent person in mind and in spirit, who will be impartial and be a credible, because basically what is it? It's going to be the referee of our political contest. You want a referee that's upright, that is coming to do a good job for the game, and not for a particular player or players in the game. So that is why it's important that we satisfy ourselves that we have a referee that would be a good and honest referee.
And with that said, what's your personal assessment of Dr. Afarijan?
He's had a checkered history. I mean, he began first of all as
deputy. An easy boss.
He began as deputy to Mr. Justice Ofoiwate. And in an election which we contested strongly, if you remember at the time, the very first election, the first election with the President John Rawlings in 1992 November election. In fact, I was the editor of the MPP book that was written on that election, which we call the Stolen Verdict. But he was involved in that exercise. Then came the 96 elections, the 2000, the 2000, 2004, 2008. I think there was a recognition that whatever the challenges were, our system was improving. He has made his own contribution, the truth is about it, to the process of democratic consolidation. I think that the last election there were challenges that perhaps we could handle better.
Did you call him after that?
I've spoken to him.
What did you tell him?
Oh, yeah, I had problems with the election. I told him at the time. I think that my own view is that perhaps there'd be a little more give and take on his part in terms of wanting to hear and listen to his expressment and all that. But anyway, all that is history. But he has done his work.
Are you bitter?
No. I don't. Bitterness is not one of the things that I encourage in myself, because I think it's a waste of emotion. It doesn't really get you very far. It's happened. I accepted the result of the election in the end, even though I didn't think it was the correct outcome, and have moved on. And the nation.
Do you speak to President Mahama? I understand you two are very good friends.
No, we were together. We went to the House together.
Okay.
We went to Parliament the same year, in 1997. We were all part of those who stood for elections in 1996. He's on the other side, the NDC side. And we were there right up to we both left in 2008.
Fond memories. I mean, you and John, wow.
Well, we're friends.
You still talk?
Yeah, when we meet each other, we share different visions about that.
Will you welcome a sit down and maybe, you know, over some drinks and talk about Ghana and share?
I have no problem.
If Star FM arranges that, I mean, let's arrange that. You'll be there. But what do you make of the IMF bailouts? What do you make of it? Ghana's IMF
I
bailouts?
think it's unfortunate that we had to get that.
Unfortunately?
I think it was unfortunate that we had to get that. I believe that where Akufo left Ghana in 2009, the economy that had been built in his 8 years in office was an economy on the verge of takeoff. And that if things had been well managed, we wouldn't find ourselves in where we are.
Now, the first tranche is in. It's already in the account of the Bank of Ghana. Great news when you say that yes, It is. You think
What is important is that the discipline, because the IMF program is meant to impose upon us. I'm hoping that we will accept that discipline. It's going to be difficult, but if we accept that discipline, it will be a way that we can start getting out of the hole. We have a hole we created ourselves, self-made, government-made, Muhammad-made in my view, and we're now going to find our way to move out of it. And remember this, in 2001 when we came in, we found Ghana as a hip nation, highly indebted poor country. Now, 6-7 years later, we're in a country which has a high distress of debt, high risk of debt distress. That is how it's being described by the IMF. So both ends of our period in power has seen us plunge into the difficulties that we have. I think what all this has taught us that we need to have people at the helm of our affairs who can manage this economy in a responsible and disciplined manner, because that is the basis for future prosperity of our country. Unfortunately, the President and his people have not been able to provide that responsible and disciplined management. Let me just give you one example. Just over a year ago, Muhammad who was running, one of the speeches that he made before the IMF came pointed out to the government that the amounts of monies that we were borrowing were endangering the future health of our economy, and that they needed to take a very close look at what was going on, and as much as possible become more disciplined in their borrowing. The borrowing spree that they were on was going to put all of us into trouble, and then ultimately it will end us up in an IMF program. The President responded to his speech by saying that, on the contrary, they're going to borrow more. Today, the IMF leader, Christian Lagarde, has written in response to emails from the Daily Graphic, a statement which tells us that the excessive borrowing of our government is one of the main reasons why we are where we are in the IMF today. So that is what I'm talking about. People having the possibility of doing something better, who chose a more, if I may say so, respect, irresponsible bank. And that is what has led us to where we are now.
5 minutes.
The IMF program has come about because of our own errors of judgment and behavior. If we had a government that was more disciplined, concerned itself more about how the country positioned itself in the future, and not thinking that there were no limits to what it could do and borrow, we wouldn't be in the situation that we are. So the issues that are being that the Ghanaian people are being asked to confront are issues that were avoidable. And today, all of us are having to pay for the mistakes of our leaders.
Right. We're going to the messages, tons of messages on social media, and we have them coming through. But with time, exactly 7 minutes after 8, you're live on Star 103.5 FM. And my guest is the presidential candidate of the MPP, Nana Akufo Addo. We are live on a number of affiliate stations. We are live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi. You're listening to us on Kasapa 102.3 FM. Live here in Accra, Ago 96.9 FM in Nkoko, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, and www.starfmonline.com. Internationally, we are live on Abawa FM Online, Osibisa FM, Nasma FM Online, all in the United Kingdom. And my program's director, Kafuide, gracefully has given us extra 30 minutes for us to get to 8:30, so we have a lot more coming in. And we're also streaming live on Ghana Web, Events Guide, and AA Photography. So a lot coming up right here on Star. But if you're also worried about where to get quality eggs and feed for your poultry and piggery, well, visit Boris B Farms and Veterinary Supplies Ghana Limited. And they have a lot for you. Boris B has introduced onto the market a poultry and livestock performance enhancer known as RE3. They are supporting this one right here. Boris B on the Bantama High Street opposite Presbyterian Church in Aswansi Market, and also Sylvia Junction, all in Kumasi. Call them on 0244 355 050. They are also in Togo and La Côte d'Ivoire. Boris B Farms and Veterinary Supplies Ghana Limited, a giant distributor of animal feed and drugs. Live on Star, this is Starrchat with me, Bola Ray. Welcome back. And we talk about affirmative action. I know that will, get some smile from you and the laughter as well will generate. Is it true that you are trying to save Madame Eslo, so now Toshi and Co, by introducing the affirmative action?
First of all, it was not me introducing it. It was the national executive of our party that
policy
that made it policy. I think the reason for it, I think I commented it, which is that basically
you supported it.
Yeah, which is that we wanted to find a way to make sure that on the MPP side, women were visible in our parliamentary party. I think that the consultations that were taking place before the policy was, as it were, pronounced, were not adequate. That's the way I see it, and therefore many in the party really appreciate it. And we spoke out of this. It is on that basis that the National Council of the Party said, well, yes, the party is committed to the program policy of affirmative action, but we make sure that we have women visible in the parliamentary party and in the parliamentary leadership of our country. We want women to play a more and more active role in the public life of our nation, but that it needed a broader basis of support than just the national executive. So we'll take the matter after the normal processes of inter-party action to the National Delegates Conference of our party, which is the highest body of our party, and have the policy adopted there with all its implications worked out. There, for instance, those were saying that instead of trying to preserve the situation for the current members of parliament, we should rather be looking at a situation whereby in the areas of MPP strength, let's say the Shanti Eastern region and those areas, a certain amount of seats will be allocated for female parliamentary candidates. These are all matters that we're going to have to look at in greater detail. But that the MPP is committed to a program ensuring that women take a visible and high-profile role in the politics of our nation and the politics of the MPP. That is not in doubt.
Right, and moving on, I want to ask you this as we get into. Did you sometimes? Of course, I want to just move on to the messages that have come in. We're trending, and I hear Starrchat is number one. Actually issues. Of course, program trending now on Twitter. So as it stands now, a lot that is coming in.
Like the new language.
Trending. But I really want to find out from you. Do you sincerely regret the all die be die? And yet I can't for comments.
What I regret is that at the time, I didn't use the occasion to explain what happened. Because it's been twisted as if I would say something tribalistic, I would say something warlike. On the contrary, that is not what I'm saying. So to that extent, yes, I regret the uproar which it caused. But I think that even more regret